So let's talk some more about dehumanization, shall we? So I think I've mentioned Fromm a lot, and he talks at length about dehumanization in The Anatomy of Human Destructiveness, the book that I will forever recommend. No matter how many flaws there are in the book, I still find it to be quite a fundamental read. But the dehumanization, I don't know how you guys pronounce it, is such a prominent phenomenon, and I think it's been getting worse lately. I think that we are being taught or at least stirred in the direction once again to start dehumanizing each other, and it is understandable why. The whole narrative of the scarcity of resources or scarcity of resources, this narrative is not really true. It's not necessarily the resources that we're lacking. It's more of the way we distribute them. You can probably imagine how much food and how much stuff gets wasted in the mode of production that is capitalist. And you cannot deny that if we start using these resources more effectively, meaning that we're going to give them to the people that need them, that there's not going to be much scarcity. So I'm not going to refer to any fancy stats or data because you can see it with your very own eyes. Like, go to the store and see how much food they throw away. Talk to anyone who works in the food industry. They will tell you just how much food is wasted. So that is one aspect of dehumanization that we observe all the time, and also the whole culture war or the whole oppression Olympics stuff that you guys in the US I think started. Not exactly sure, and I'm sure it's very old, but it's been spreading all over the place, and especially with more war and conflict happening all over the world, we see that there's a lot of dehumanization happen where you have to take this one side or the other in a conflict or a war. Like, these people are not human or subhuman now, but our people are actual people. I mean, they've been doing that ever since the guy, you know. And if you have read Parenti, and I'm sure you've read Black Shirts and Reds by Parenti, which is a great book, no matter how inaccurate some parts may be, it is an incredibly helpful tool. And that first part on fascism, it is brilliant. It's great. And Parenti shows you how this process happens also, what kind of techniques are used to convince you that there are lesser people than you, so it would be easier for you to go out and kill them. So that is the second aspect of dehumanization that I notice. But the third aspect is, I believe, we're all extremely tired and exhausted from working endless hours and not receiving enough pay. So we take our grief and our anger onto each other. We just kind of project, or I don't think that's projection. I think that's another maladaptive defense mechanism. But you know what I'm talking about. We start taking it off on the people who cannot respond to us. So those people would usually be minorities. So we start hating on women, on people of color, on LGBTQ plus people, etc., etc. So, and children, of course. So the dehumanization process is going to only keep on getting worse if we don't start, first of all, as individuals, consciously make choices and decisions based on humanism. Even if you're not a communist or a socialist, you can still see humanity in people without subscribing to, communal care and whatnot. And second, we must realize that those processes are somewhat of a rule. They're going to keep on happening if the material conditions don't change. Like, the tendency of people to dehumanize each other, the people's tendency of dehumanization is not new, but it's been very much exaggerated in the times like ours and in the last century. And we can observe the material conditions that kind of push people towards it. So I encourage everyone to examine their own dehumanization tendencies, and I think that we can address them on an individual level, but it is also extremely important that we begin addressing our collective needs as well. But on a collective level, we also can do much and organize as usual. Start your union, start your little book club, whatever you can do to build community with people to see their humanity. I think is going to be a great step forward.